Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining us this morning. In this tutorial, we're going to be showing you how to make a simple cake pop. So today we're doing a few different flavors. We're going to do lemon, strawberry, and chocolate. So I've already pre-made my cake, and in this one I've got the strawberry cake already made. The icing's already been added, and you see how it's kind of like I can push my spoon down in there and smash it down, so that means it's moist enough if it's holding its shape. So what we're going to do today is go ahead and get started. So the items that we need for this is, of course, cake. So I've already made the cake. This has frosting in it. It has about 3 tablespoons of frosting in it. This cake was enough for a 6-inch round pan. That's how much is in here. And then I'm going to use some my favorite Ghirardelli white chocolate flavored melting wafers. And then excuse my bottle because it had a spill, but this is Chef Master's chocolate or candy color, but I use it for chocolate. And then of course you're going to need some cake pop sticks. And then I also use a paper plate when I roll up my cake pop balls, and then a cake pop stand or some styrofoam so you can put them on there to dry, and then a paper towel for hand wiping, and then gloves. I'll be right back. Let me get my gloves. Alright, yes, so I'm back. I got my gloves here. You want to make sure you have gloves on, so when you roll your cake balls, you have cake all over your hand. So we're going to start with heating our chocolate. I use the whole bag. So you want to heat it on 30-second intervals, stirring in between, and to make sure your chocolate is melted properly and not burning. So that was 30 seconds. And as you see, after 30 seconds, it doesn't even really look like it's melted at all. But really, it has started melting some. Just a little bit, if you can see that. How it's melting just a little bit. Put it back in here for another 30 seconds. And then you'll also use a cookie scoop, or you can use a spoon or a fork to pull your cake out of your bowl. Alright, so just after another 30 seconds, look how melted they are. And you just want to stir that until it's smooth. Sometimes you may need to put it back in there for another 10 to 15 seconds, and this I definitely will, because you still have some chocolate that's not all the way melted, but that 10 or 15 seconds will get it done really well. So I'm gonna be right back. I'll go ahead and do that. All right, so after 15 seconds, it's pretty much all the way smooth. An additional 15 seconds, that is. All right. So now that that's smooth, we can set that to the side. Start making our cake pops, the balls. You don't want to leave your spoon in there, because if the chocolate starts to harden up, your spoon is going to get stuck in there, so just use your paper towel to sit that on. Alright. So again, I've already got my cake. And then take the fork out of there. Let's get our cookie scoop. And I use 2 scoops full for each cake pop. A lot of people tell me that my cake pops are big, but who wants to buy a small or even eat a small cake pop? And you just want to roll it in your hands. I even smash it. You see how it's like a Play-Doh consistency? Want to make sure it's all together. You can tell, you can kind of feel it in your hands when it's time to do the final roll. All right. So when it's smooth like that, just go ahead and sit it on your plate that you've got. You get a cake pop, dip it down in your chocolate, just the end, about that much, shake off some of the excess. And then you want to put it down in the cake pop like that. All right. So we're going to trade places here with this. Put that back there. All right. There you go. And then just do it over and over again until you've got the desired amount of cake pops. So kind of smash it together, just like that. All right. And once you've got it all smashed together, then I start doing my roll. I kind of roll mine oblong, like that first. And then the final circular roll. And again, looks like that. Nice and smooth. Put it on your plate. Dip it in your chocolate. Down in there. All right, so I'm going to finish those. And then we'll be back with our chocolate cake pops. We're going to do the same thing with those, but that one I don't have the frosting mixed in, so I'll show you how I mix the frosting in. All right. Okay, so now that we've got our cake pops rolled and we've got the sticks in there, we've got to make sure those sticks are secure. So I like to put them in the refrigerator for, I don't know, maybe 2 to 3 minutes. You don't want your cake getting cold, because then when you go to dip it in the melted chocolate, that's what causes the cracking. If you've ever noticed that your cake pops are cracking, it means your cake was too cold when you decided to dip it in the chocolate. So let's go ahead and pop these in the refrigerator. And then I'm going to go ahead and start working on my chocolate cake. And then I'll pull those out the refrigerator here in just a moment. Let me move this white chocolate out the way. I'll be right back. Let me go get the chocolate cake. Alrighty, so now we're going to work on our chocolate. So our chocolate does not have the frosting mixed in, but I have about 4 tablespoons of cream cheese frosting that I made. And this is cake from a 9-inch pan and 1 6-inch pan, all crumbled up already. And we're just going to mix the frosting in. I use the back of the fork and just kind of move that frosting around in this cake. I know it doesn't seem like a lot of frosting, but you don't want a ton of frosting in there, because then they'll be too moist and just not good. Alrighty, so I'm going to finish mixing this in this chocolate cake. And then for this, I use a milk chocolate Ghirardelli. And then I mix it with the dark chocolate Ghirardelli. That's what I dip my chocolate cake pops in. Most of the time, just like my regular chocolate cake pops. That's what I dip those in. Sometimes I only use dark. Sometimes I only use milk chocolate, depending on what the customer wants. But my signature chocolate cake pop, those are the ones I use. Sometimes I may use a Merkin's chocolate if I can't find the Ghirardelli milk chocolate, but it all tastes the same. Well, that's not true. All chocolate does not taste the same, but those two taste pretty similar. Alrighty, so I'm just about done mixing that in there. As you can see, you can't see any more white in there, and that's what you want to go for. When the white disappears and you've mixed it all around in the bowl, that's when you want to start scooping your cake balls out to make your cake pops. All right. So give it a nice big stir, make sure it's all in there. All right, so that's done. So for this, I'm just gonna use my fork. Give me a minute, let me get another plate. All right, so we're gonna go ahead, use our plate. I'm gonna use this fork to scoop out my chocolate cake. And then we're just gonna roll it just like we did our strawberry. Oblong. And then let's go into our ball. Just like that. Nice chocolate ball. We didn't melt our chocolate, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna use almost half this bag and half of this bag, half of the dark chocolate. All right, let's put it in the microwave. Same goes for that, 30 seconds and 30 seconds. Stir in between. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and finish making these cake balls, and then we'll come back when it's time to dip them all in the chocolate. Okay guys, so I'm back. So now we're about to dip our cake pops down in the melted chocolate. So I've got one bowl white chocolate, another bowl white chocolate. One will be pink for the strawberry, and the other we're going to make yellow for the lemon. So I'm just going to put one little drop of candy color in there, because that's enough for the color that I'm looking for these strawberry cake pops. I don't want it to be super duper pink. Just a little pink is enough for me. So just like that. One drop, and this is about half a bag of the Ghirardelli chocolate wafers. So I got to get the lemon cake pops out of the refrigerator. I don't want them to get too cold. Alright, so these are out. Alright. And then, so I showed you the candy color, the liquid. And then for the yellow, I'm going to use a powder color. So just a little bit in there, just to give it a little yellow color. I don't want too much. I didn't even use 1/4 of a teaspoon. I may need to use a little bit more, because I do have a whole bag of Ghirardelli for the yellow, because I'm doing more yellow cake pops. So you could probably even barely see the yellow color in the camera, but it's yellow, just barely though. And that's how I want it. I really only put the color in there so you can tell the difference because you use a white candy coat for both of them. So I just want you to be able to tell the difference. Sometimes I don't even put the color in there. Just depends on the customer. Alright. So now it's time to dip them. I take my gloves off for this part. I'm not any longer touching the cake. So cake pop here. Swirl it around carefully so the cake does not detach from the stick. And then shake the excess off. Make sure you shake that excess off because if not, that chocolate will run down the stick and we don't want that. Alright, make sure you do it gently though. Alright, so you see how there's nothing else coming off? There's a little bit, only because I kept shaking, but it would have been okay to go ahead and sit it over there. Just how it was. Swirl that around. Sit it in our cake pop stand, just like that. And then you're just going to do the rest of them, just like that. Alright, so that's what we're doing here. Alright, just a little bit more drip. You can kind of look around the cake pop to see if anything else is going to drip. Sit it in our stand. Sorry, you really can't see how I'm dipping it in here, but I just move it around in the chocolate carefully. Or you can melt a lot of chocolate and dunk them down in there and pull them out. That's really the best way to do it. But today I didn't need to melt all that chocolate, so that's not the method I'm using today. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and finish dipping them, and then I'll show you the finished product and how I wrap them up. Alright. Alright, so all of the cake pops are done. These are just some simple dipped cake pops. We have our lemon. You can barely see the yellow in it, but I can actually see it. It looks white to you, but it's yellow. And then we've got our strawberry, and then, if you can see it, our chocolate. And so we're just gonna package these, and I got these bags from Walmart. These are Wilton brand, what are these called? Pops bag kit. That's with the kit. It comes with these little bowls. I don't use those bowls often unless I'm doing something that I really need them for. Instead, I just use twisty ties to close my cake pop bags. So you just, what I do is touch, make sure they're dry, and they are. I just slide the bag over them while they're still on the stand, because that's what's easiest for me. Alright, and then once I've got most of them covered, I just grab it just like that. Pull off a twisty tie. Well, I pulled off two. Separate those. And then wrap it around. And this is the fun part for me. I actually move the cake pop and not the twisty tie. Just like that. And there you have it. Your lemon cake pop. Ta-da! And these are just a simple version of a cake pop. There will be other tutorials on different cake pops, but here you go. Thank you for watching. Click like, click subscribe, and click share.